So let me go to Texas to get to Atlanta real quick. I decided to do this separately. I was thinking about it when I did the Malik Cohn story earlier. So this was like a while ago, some years ago. And I won't say these people's names in case they happen to come across this video. But okay, so I met a guy. He was a Caucasian guy I met. And seems to be a nice guy. I noticed something was a little off with him, but he seemed to be an okay guy to chill with, to talk to. I remember he didn't have a car, so I took him a few places, and he just started to divulge information. He was currently married to a black woman who had a whole nother relationship with her children's father. Now, I put two and two together, but he didn't have to do it for me. I already kind of knew. He had a check. He was receiving an SSI check because something was not right with him. I could tell. Again, very sweet guy, but I could tell something just was not right. Okay? And he was saying how all she did was pay his phone bill and drop off a couple of things that she got from the grocery store. Would never put any money in his pocket, and he got $551 a month. I remember I never went inside his home. I came to pick him up a few times to take him to do a few things, but I never went inside the home. I have no idea what his home looked like. All right, so he had asked me. He wanted me to be over his check, meaning he wanted me to be the one that would sign for his check. He wanted me to go to the Social Security place and give them my information because he wasn't getting any money. He said, all you have to do is, cash the check and I can pay my phone bill. I can get food. I can do this. At the time, he had to be like in his mid-30s. I do remember that. He was in his mid-30s. We were around the same age. I remember that. And he told me, and you can keep such and such money. Now, I did not want to do anything like that. I was asking, is there somebody else that could do this for you? He did not trust anybody. This is what he was telling me. And his wife had been over it for so long. But she was definitely in a whole entire relationship. I remember a circumstance when I was sitting outside and she pulled up. And I'm thinking, oh goodness, I'm going to have to beat this bitch ass. I'm like, what is going on here? She pulled up though. I remember she was not a very attractive woman. She was and I have to describe her like this. I have to. And I have nothing against, a darker skinned people at all. But I'm saying this because she was very dark, but she had these blonde braids. And black women, you know what I'm talking about. When we see people looking like this, it wasn't appealing at all. It wasn't appealing. And she was very short, very stocky type woman. She probably was maybe around maybe like 5'3", 5'4", probably weighing like 350. She just was not a very pretty person. And I remember they were arguing with each other, and she was pretty much assaulting him in front of me. And I'm like in my car looking like, oh my goodness. And then this young girl runs out of the house, and you can obviously tell she's mixed. You can tell she was a mixed girl, but she runs out the house, and this is her uncle. I see that she's saying, Uncle such and such, and I want to say his name, but she's screaming, Uncle such and such. So the fighting stops, and as this thing comes past my car door, I swear she looked like something out the whiz, she really did. She comes by and she kind of mean mugs me, and she gets in her car. And I notice now as they're pulling off, there's a dude in the car with her. It's a black guy in the car with her. I'm like, oh my goodness. So, I'm like, what's going on? What happened? Yeah, that's her. And, she's upset. and I told her I want some money, now this was a while ago, so I'm trying to remember like really everything. But that's the part that was going on with him and his, estranged wife and her just wanting his money at the time. But it's the girl that I really wanted to talk about. So I remember I took this girl back to my house. I don't even know what circumstances, but in my house, I had like nice posters in my room up in frames of, I think it was like Aaliyah, it was Biggie, it was Pac, and I had just got an MJ poster. He might have even died around that time. I don't know, but I had just got one, and I was putting it in the frame. And she was looking, and I remember she said to me, which was really strange, she said, "How old are you?" And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Are you Mary J. Blige's age?" Which was really funny to me. I said, "What you know about Mary J. Blige?" And she goes, "Oh, I like her. I like her singing. I like her." I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I like Mary too. I like Mary." So I remember we went to a store. We went to Walmart. She had told me, she asked me if I could get her nails done for her. I don't even get my own nails and toenails done, but I said, "Yeah, I could do that for you. I can get your nails done." And she said, I do them on my own. I do my own nails. And the stuff is in Walmart. So we went to Walmart, and I said, "Go ahead and get your stuff for your nails. I'm going to go over here and, and do what I'm going to do." So she met up with me, and she had like the lead press-ons. She had the stuff that she needed to do her nails. So we got all this stuff. And I remember online, she goes, "Well, what do you want me to do for this?" And I said, what are you talking about? And I'm like, putting the stuff on the conveyor belt. And, it's getting, rung up by the register. And, I pay for the stuff. And, she's already she didn't even want the stuff in the bag. She already has it in her hand. And we walking out the store. I'm like, "Here, well, take this receipt, since you want to hold this so bad, take this receipt." And I remember she was saying it all in the car drive. She's like, "Well, what do I have to do for this?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What do you want to do for that?" She goes, "Do you want me to do anything for this?" And I'm like, "No, it's for you." And it wasn't until later on, I'm like, "Why?" I'm talking to my friend like, girl, she kept asking me, like, what is she supposed to do for me buying her? I brought her like some the stuff that she needed for her nails. And I think she like grabbed like a sandwich, a pre-made sandwich and some chips or something. And it was weird. It was very weird. So I remember that was one circumstance she was at my house. She did her nails. And they looked very nice. She asked me if she could do mine. My nails are naturally long. So I said, no. I said that they're really pretty though. I don't remember. I remember bringing her back home because we stopped at a gas station. And while I was, paying for the gas, I looked outside the window and there was like two young guys already by my car talking to her, pulled away from that. And I'm believing I brought her probably back down to her uncle's house because that's the only house that I remember brought her back down to her uncle's house. Now, the times that I would see her uncle, she would talk to me a lot. Like he would just talk all the time. He told me his whole life story with this woman, how when he got with her, he loved her, but he didn't know that she was just going to use him for his benefits. He told me everything. Now, as for the young girl, she was maybe about 14, 15 at the time that I met her. I believe she was like 14 that I met. I don't think she was younger than that. I never knew her age, but I don't think she was younger than that. I mean, she could have been 13. She could have been. So I was speaking to the girl, and I'm just going to tell you how the situation went. So her mother at the time was dealing with a boyfriend who was a cheater. He done cheated with everybody. Done slept with, two of her cousins, slept with a few of her friends, just was cheating on her. And would cheat on her with outside women and hardly, would come home when he wanted to. And when he came home, he was always smelling like other women and they would get into physical assaults because of it. So he had an idea, and you guys already know what the idea was. In order for him to stay at home, and in order for him to not stray with other, women, other females, other girls, that he needed to be able to have sex with her daughter. So she agreed to it. She definitely did. She agreed to it. And he started to assault this young girl. And the girl would tell her mother what he was doing to her. And she just was like, it doesn't matter. It's just sex. You're probably already having sex. But she was not already having sex. She was a virgin then, before she got with, or forced to be with, the boyfriend. So she would cry. She would tell her mother she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to be with him. But the mother just, insisted, because it was keeping him at home. And that's what she wanted. She just wanted him at home. So the young girl, ultimately, she got pregnant. And one day, the girl was on the couch playing video games like she always did with the boyfriend. And now her belly was out there. She must have been maybe 3-4 months pregnant, but she was showing now. And the mother walked in on him rubbing the young girl's belly and kissing her belly. And he was saying he wanted a boy. Now, I don't think he had any children. I'm not sure if he had any children or not. I can't say 100%. I know he didn't have any children with this woman. She lost her shit when she seen him kissing her daughter's belly. She put her daughter out to where now her daughter had to go stay with the uncle. You guys, this was so long ago. And at that time, I would be the one to take anyone's children. I kid you not. I can show you Facebook posts. I would tell girls, this was before you were able to bring, I knew that you were able to bring an unwanted child to the hospital, a fire station, all that type of stuff. I would tell people, don't harm your kids. Don't leave your kids. Don't do stuff. I will take your kids. I will take your kids. I don't care what race they are, what gender they are. Give me your children. I'm not a rich woman at all. I'm not. But I will love this child. If for some reason you can't do it or you don't want to do it, I will. And I said that a lot. That's a whole nother story. I can tell you stories about me saying that and offers I've gotten. I'll tell you about that another time. But so I never said anything. I asked her, are you ready for this baby? And she never said she didn't want it, but she never said she did want it. She got put out. It's like, I can't say she sat there and she was like, oh, when I have this baby, I can't wait to have this baby boy. I'm going to name it such and such. She never said anything like that. Once she got put out, I didn't hear anything else was going on with her mother and the boyfriend. I never heard of anything else that was going on with that. It had to be a couple of months later, because this is around the time I was still in school. I was doing other things, and every time I went around that situation, it was so dramatic. It was awful. It was terrible. It was sickening. It was dramatic. And no, I did not know at the time. I'm going to get into that. Like, why didn't you call the police? I know people are probably thinking that. I'm going to explain to you and you will get it. You will get it. So I was extremely, let me back up a little bit. So I remember I was talking to the uncle, And I said, she's like 15. What are you going to do? Like, did you guys call the police? I asked him that. He said a policewoman had questioned her at the home where her mother stayed. And the little girl said that she was pregnant by a little boy. That's all I know. She was pregnant by one of her peers. It was not the boyfriend. Now, yes, when the child was born, they could have easily had found out, was that his child or not. I know there's tests now that you can do it where the woman is pregnant and you can figure it out that way, but that's not what they were going to do here in Georgia. That's not what they were going to do in this situation. It was going to, I guess, wait until she had the baby, but she said it was by one of her little friends. So I was very ill months later. Like I said, when I was around this situation, it was just too much. It was problematic. It was so much drama. I don't do that. I have peace in my life. And if I could help somebody, I could. But this was way too much. Giving somebody a ride to pick up a few groceries is one thing because they don't have a car. But when you got a woman there that's beating him up, now she's sending threats to me. Like, who is that? Not sending threats because she thought I was with her man. She could care less about that. And I was not. Let me just make that clear. I was not sending threats because he told her that he was going to make me now, over his check, which I turned down immediately. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible for anything like that. So I was very ill. And I remember I was in the emergency room and I seen her. She had on a hospital gown. This is a little girl. And she was humongous. She had on slippers. She was about to bust. And I remember she was wobbling to the soda machine. And I was so ill. I wanted to talk to her. I did. I wanted to say something to her. But in that same moment, something told me not to. Something was like, Charlie, let it go. Let it go. You are here in the hospital. You're sick. You don't even know what the hell's wrong with you. Let it go. And I let it go. I let it go.